Now, a lot of people don't know, but just like you can create custom list views for all your different objects and the records of those objects, you can also create a custom list view of your Salesforce users. There are many interesting ways in which this might be a useful thing to do. So I'll show you how to do that and we'll talk through some of the potential use cases. So firstly, you need to come into the setup area by clicking on the gear icon and then clicking setup. That'll bring you to this page here. And then you want to go to administration, click on users, and then users at the bottom of that list. In this case, I'm just using a dev org. So there's only a handful of users and most of them are just system users. So I'm the only active user in this org. So there's no real use because I don't have a huge quantity that I'm trying to manage. But in theory, let's say you've got a few hundred users or a few thousand, creating custom user list views can make it a lot easier to manage those users. So firstly, click here to say create new view. And this is how we'll commence creating a new list. Firstly, for name, I'm just going to say first new user list. Unique name is just the API, that's fine. And then we add the filter criteria. This is where we narrow down which users appear on this list. So firstly, field. This looks at all those different fields on the user object and allows us to filter our list based on those fields. So things like name may not be useful, alias, nickname, last login, that could be useful. You could create a list of users that haven't logged in a long time. Things like city, if you want to see which users live in a certain city or which users you have in a certain state, if you have some kind of geographic situation that you need to manage. Division, department, that could really easily show you how many users in each one and help you do bulk updates to that whole group. Role is another very useful one. If you want to add permission sets to everyone of a certain role, being able to easily see everyone that has that role is a big use. Same with profile. Is manager, is partner, language, and so many more things. Is frozen. You may want to see who's frozen to see if you can either unfreeze them or potentially delete them if they've been frozen for a while. And there are so many fields there and so many things you can do. So once you've selected, let's say division, you then say either equals or is not equal, all the usual sort of qualifiers, and then enter a value. And what's easier, or sorry, what's even more important is that you can then layer different things on top. So you could say all people in this division in the state of XYZ. So layering those things up gives you a more and more precise user list view, which is super handy when you're dealing with a larger volume of users. Next thing you can adjust is which fields display for that list of users. So which columns of data do you want to see on that list view? By default, it gives us name, alias, username, role, whether they're active or not, and then their profile. But there's so many more things you can add depending on what is going to best serve you with that user list view. Lastly, you get to determine the visibility of that list. If it's something you do as an admin and just a maintenance job you do on a regular basis and it's only of use to you, you can make it visible only to yourself. You can make it visible to all users if you think it might be useful to others, or like with a list of object records like accounts or contacts, you can also make it visible to a group of users if you think that is more useful. Once you've done that, you press save and then you'll have yourself a brand new custom user list view that you've set up for your own particular requirement. Hope that helps.